I know what you're thinking. Lego, you made 3 videos, 1 entire day's worth of a show, because of 1 article on Daily Faceoff. And you know, I'm gonna say it, yeah, Daily Faceoff, man. Conversations galore on the most recent piece. This is literally the 3rd video of the day, referring to this 32 bold predictions article published by Seravalli yesterday. Now, just like with the prior video talking about Jack Hughes and the New Jersey Devils, I don't want to go out there and only talk about what is said in the article, because there is a Vancouver Canucks-related bold prediction that Seravalli goes out there and writes about, but I don't only want to talk about that idea. Instead, I think this is a pretty good introductory conversation to a wider topic surrounding the Vancouver Canucks and where they can go in 22-23. So, without a doubt, let's go over back to this article. It's the 3rd time on the channel for today that we've referred to this piece. Man, if everybody's going out there and clicking the link in the description to read the article per video, then I'm kind of boosting their ad views. I don't know what to say. Let's go over to the 7th bold prediction on the list and talk about Bruce Boudreau. Bruce, there it was. Vancouver Canucks coach Bruce Boudreau will be the first coaching casualty of the season. Still can't shake the apparent friction that existed between Boudreau and the front office last spring when he asked for and did not receive an extension. The Canucks stars have not impressed in the preseason, and that might mean a slow start. Now, obviously, this is a big prediction, like NHL coaching firings happen throughout the season, but for Seravalli to write that Bruce Boudreau will be the first one, it does make for a very interesting conversation. Because on the one hand, you already had this entire coaching controversy from last year. Travis Green stuck around for far beyond his expiration date with the team, and you could even say the same thing about Jim Benning. Like, I feel like Aquaman really did hold out for such a long time before firing Benning and Green that it kind of held the team back in a way. You gotta remember, the Canucks were fighting for the last few points in the last few games of the regular season, and part of that outcome could be attributed to the fact that they just ran out of games. Had they fired Green and Benning earlier, they made the changes, and had the team gotten the bump from Bruce Boudreau earlier, you could very well debate that they could have had a playoff berth in 2022, but that's neither here nor there. Furthermore, when it comes to the entire spring contract conversation about Bruce Boudreau and the extension, we did see a lot of rumors going over whether or not the new Canucks management would want to keep Bruce Boudreau around, because if you remember, during the entire time frame when Benning and Green got fired, Boudreau was the first guy hired. Rutherford and Alvin were not brought on till a little bit later, so it would have been fair to assume, okay, Rutherford and Alvin are coming into a new organization that has a new coach too. Do they like this new coach that was hired before they came here? They have the authority to go out there and hire whoever they want, but it really depends on what the current coaching staff ends up showing off. And for Bruce Boudreau, we had some controversies going around, and it was actually documented quite a lot on this channel as well. But either way, Bruce Boudreau at the end of the day did not get himself that extension. He'll be heading into this season with a future that is remaining to be seen, whether or not that's with Vancouver or some other team. And so when it comes to what the Vancouver Canucks happen to have behind the scenes, all the conversations and the context with the hiring of Boudreau and the extensions and everything, it would make sense if there is some tension. But at the same time, you have to go out there and acknowledge what the Vancouver Canucks are and what it would actually take for a guy like Boudreau to get fired this season. And the reason I say this season is because when it comes to the Aquaman, okay, not even the Aquaman, but like when it comes to the history of Vancouver Canucks coaches, it's been really difficult to see them get released when they should have been released. And I'm not just talking about Travis Green. Of course, we know the team succeeded very well under Travis Green in the 2020 bubble, and that's partially some of the reason why I feel like the Canucks were so willing to hold on to him throughout 2021, even though the team was really bad. And plus, there was the entire virus excuse that you could use, so there was a little bit of extra support there. But in 2021-2022, Travis Green stuck around for way too long. The team was so bad on the penalty kill, they were so bad losing all these games constantly, and despite the roster, the team was performing like one of the worst Vancouver Canucks squads we have ever seen. You go back to the coach before Travis Green, Willie Desjardins. Sure, that guy had a playoff series for the Vancouver Canucks against the Calgary Flames in 2015, but what happened after? 2016 comes around, they kind of suck. 2017 comes around, they're even worse, second worst team in the league, and Desjardins sticks around till the end of the year. And plus, now that there's a new management in town that is not really going out there and pushing this, we need to make the playoffs and anything can happen when you make the playoffs like Benning did, we have ourselves a management group, or I say we like I'm a part of the team. No, I'm not, I'm just a fan. The Vancouver Canucks have a management group that has been very adamant about how they need to improve. They need to get faster, they need to upgrade the blue line, they need to do this, they need to get younger, they need to do that. And even though the JT Miller contract extension sort of puts the team in win-now mode, and that gets even muddier when you talk about the Bo Horvat conversation and his contract extension, which is going to happen soon, I feel like the Vancouver Canucks would tolerate losing a little bit more right now compared to where they were a year ago. Is that a weird thing to say? I don't know, the reason I feel this way is because last year, Benning really just went all in, like balls to the wall, let's just get whoever we can, we'll get Ekman Larsson, screw the money, doesn't matter, we'll keep him around, at least he makes our team better. Like, Benning was on thin ice, and everybody knew that it was 8 years of very limited playoff success and that there was not really too deep of a lineup of prospects or even just regular NHL caliber guys, and so Benning was desperate to make the playoffs, and the team just utterly failed in front of him. Rutherford, Alvin, Granato, Castonguay, this crew, I don't know about you, but I don't really get the vibe from their media interviews and everything that they're going balls to the wall, trying to make the playoffs right now because that is the immediate short-term goal in the same way that Benning was kind of doing it. Which means, to me, if they lose a few more games here and there, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I don't think it's going to be that bad. Like, if the Canucks make the playoffs, which I do think they probably will this season, that's my bet, it wouldn't be like an automatic guaranteed, okay, good, they made it, that's what they were supposed to do. To me, I'd feel like, oh man, they made it. Let's go, baby! Do you see the difference? And for Bruce Boudreau, I don't know if he's capable of coaching a team as poorly as Travis Green did towards the end of the Green era. And we know how long of a leash Green had, and the fact that it took him so long to get fired in the first place. The urgency that was present at the start of last season, I feel like it's not there to the same capacity this year. And for Bruce Boudreau, I mean, you talk about Jim Benning's comments last year about needing to make the playoffs and everything. Bruce Boudreau is very open about where his team needs to improve. You can see him on the bench. The guy looks pretty pissed off a lot of the time. And I mean, the team has only won one preseason game out of 6 that they've played, so it's understandable. And it's like they said on the broadcast last night against the Oilers in Abbotsford. Sure, while Bruce Boudreau knows that preseason games don't matter, he wants to see his team developing proper habits and getting those fine details right. I think Craig Button had a bit on Donnie and Dolly yesterday where he said just that the Vancouver Canucks did not really have their details right in a lot of the preseason games, and that's what these preseason games are for. Ironing out the details, just getting those line combinations finalized. Of course, it's difficult now because Besser and Mikheyev are out, but for Bruce Boudreau, I feel like it's going to be really difficult for the Canucks to play themselves into such a bad hole to start off the year that Boudreau gets fired as the first casualty of the season. Of course, Seravalli is just going out there and making a bold prediction, but as I said, I feel like that opened the door to a bigger conversation as to the Vancouver Canucks and their expectations. I think for me personally, I know that you could very well say that the team should be in win-now mode because of the Miller contract extension, and they have Mikheyev, who should be a pretty good player when he's in the lineup at least. They have Kuzmenko, who is looking really good to kick off his NHL preseason. Obviously, we hope that that success translates to the NHL regular season as well. So the team has all the makings to actually make the playoffs, and if they go off on a slow start to kick off the year, it would be pretty bad. But I wouldn't be too surprised if Bruce Boudreau had a longer leash, as did the other Vancouver Canucks coaches of years prior. Green, Desjardins, Tortorella didn't have one because, yeah, Tortorella just didn't work. But nowadays, you have yourselves another little intricate angle to keep your eyes on because Frank Seravalli, I know he's making bold predictions, so the point is he's going to get some of these wrong. And yeah, maybe all of them wrong, to be honest, but at the end of the day, it's an interesting conversation. So talk in the comments all your thoughts about Bruce Boudreau, whether or not you think his time in Vancouver is going to come to an end sometime in the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, sometime at the end of this season where he just expires and he goes away, or if his tenure with Vancouver is going to end sometime in the regular season when the team decides to give him the can. Tell me all your thoughts in the comment section below. The article will be linked in the description as well if you want to go ahead and read the other 31 bold predictions that Seravalli has. He goes one per team pretty much, so that's kind of how it goes. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. Juraj 99, and bye.